Let's bow our heads. Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you once again for a wonderful year that you've given us and for the safety that you've kept us in. Lord, we pray for the school system, the director, and the people that are on this board. We ask that your hand to be upon them, and we know they have tough decisions to make. We ask you, Lord, to guide them. We ask you to protect them, protect our students, dear Lord, as we get ready for the new school year. Protect our teachers, our drivers that drive the buses, all those that are involved in getting the kids ready for school and those that feed the kids in school. We ask that you bless them. Lord, we just ask that you bless this whole council and help their decisions. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call this meeting of the Campbell County Board of Education order. Gentlemen, check in with your devices.
Miller present, Bird present, Collins present, Bridgeman present, Field present, Lawson present, Ford present,
Recognition of guests. We have a Super Bowl winner. We have some more. We have come down to Mike, the Jack Burman, Blake Ivy, Kelly Clay, Jack Sutton, Mr. Johnson.
We are the ones who represented Campbell County in the Eastern Region 4-H Clover Bowl Championship. Me, I'm Blake Ivy, captain. This is co-captain Elliot Lay and Zach Sulfridge, and we were the ones who have won 3 times in a row. First time in 4th grade, we came in 2nd place to Sullivan County. Next year, 5th grade, we beat them, and that was our first time we won. Then in 6th grade at Jacksboro Middle, we won again. That's our 2nd time in a row. And now in 7th grade at Jacksboro Middle, we won 3 times in a row. We're the only team to win 3 times in a row in the history of Tennessee. Campbell County, we represented Campbell County and we're proud of it. Thank you.
Absolutely outstanding. We have young children care assistants come forward and show the acclimate we give for these successes. It's a delight, especially for us board members, when we hear all the bad and see all the good. Thank you for coming tonight. And congratulations. Approval of consent agenda. Is there a motion? Motion approved. Is there a second? Second. Change your vote.
Miller, yes. Bird, yes. Collins, yes. Moore, yes. Field, yes. Lawson, yes. Ford, yes. Parker, yes. Motion passes.
Approval of regular agenda, we have an addendum item, which is 7D, request permission to advertise bids for mobile serving line for Campbell County High School. 8F, which is consider increasing classified employees to receive payment related to sick leave at the rate of $75 per day upon retirement. Is there a motion to approve the regular agenda? So moved. Motion made. Is there a second? Discussion. Change the vote.
Miller, yes. Bird, yes. Collins, yes. Whitmore, yes. Field, yes. Lawson, yes. Ford, yes. Parker, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you. I'm going to move comments from chair after the director's monthly report because I think he's going to address new program that was in the media. So once he does, I'll have a few comments.
First of all, let me say how proud I am of this Clover Bowl. That's special. That's unheard of. We're real proud of you. Guess what? Just keep on keeping on. You'll be on national news pretty soon. Proud of you. Another big announcement, I guess someone has already heard. Yesterday, we were given a grant of $75,000, almost $76,000 from the Fallon Medical Foundation for our influenza vaccination program. And so we appreciate all the cooperation from the hospital, the foundation, and the medical organizations, the health department, different ones that help us with this each year. And one of the reasons our attendance has not been affected by influenza as it has in some of the other systems because of vaccinations that are given. So we're so thankful to get that grant again also. Mr. Miller mentioned a minute ago about the announcement that was made last week regarding some of the things the mayor wanted to try to partner with the school systems and others in the county. The Campbell County Community Foundation is an organization, it's a nonprofit charitable foundation that has been started in the county, and they're going to be assisting with some of our programs. And the main thing that we were needing help from was our alternative programs that we got started. And we had these underway last year, and we needed some financial help. And this also played into some of the things that they were wanting to do, helping some of the at-needs and risk students. Of course, we lost our race to the top, first to the top. We needed funding partners. So they're going to help us fund the programs that we have held at Eastern Florida Learning Academy in high schools and middle school. But one of the programs that we have is with a company called Edgenuity. We'll be finding this week. This will be the company that we use again to help us meeting some of the serving some of the students. We served right at 400 students last year. We had students in credit recovery. We had students in the GAP program at Delco and Campbell County High. We have students who are in the extended homebound program. Students who have discipline issues, some have medical issues, and so we're trying to meet some of those needs without those kids being at risk of not getting through school. So, and we have this alternative placement committee that we have that will approve the applications for all the students. That includes Sandy Wilson, Michelle Young, Larry Knight, Nancy Leach, and the principal of the school where the children are at. This is not a virtual school in terms of what we understood the virtual school to be. What we're trying to do is take the kids we've got and use, and one of the things that parents will have to meet some of these programs with the internet and also a computer where they can do some of these things at home. Get some of these at-risk students where that they will make it through school. But applications have to be approved by this alternative placement committee, and parents and students will have to meet every other week as far as progress report. And then we'll be giving out, we did this last year. It was our first year to try to do this. Quite a bit of huge successes. We hope to see this increase. We'll be giving out the information packet. We're going to be partnering with Anderson County and some of the things that they're doing also in our alternative program. And they're going to share with us some packets that they're sending out with their parents and how they monitor their students. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we want to partner with anyone and everyone that help us to make sure that a lot of these kids don't fall through the crack. One of the things the mayor brought to the table consideration was assisting struggling students who fall behind on the classroom work. That's what we were all about. But he's also talking about other things which is separate from our alternative school. He's talking about starting a Dropout Academy, and that's something that would be a partnership with Rome State Community College, and trying to help those students get the opportunities that they need to complete some of their high school programs. And also, we've been talking about improving the advanced options for gifted and talented students who need an accelerated program. And I'm glad to say that shared this the other day. We have 5 students who have been accepted in STEM Academy at Knoxville. And we'll be the pilot system for East Tennessee. Next year, there'll be other systems that in the area that will have students that will be eligible to go to the STEM Academy. It'll be on the lottery system after this first year. And it'll be more like 2 or 3 students maximum from each of the outlined counties. So we'll be having 5 students there. And information as far as the keeper of the records, funding and everything, we're working out those details now. They'll still be considered Campbell County students. And I think this is it's a good partnership with them. Of course, that goes in line with some of the gifted talent. But he's also looking at a program that's getting mentors in some of the schools. Of course, we've got a lot of things we have to work out for that because of background checks. Years ago, we had a program similar to that under the Colin Powell adopt a student type program. We'll look at some of those programs that we had then and see how similar they could be used in some of the mentor programs. And of course, they're also talking about expanding and improving the arts program throughout the county and the school. But our main emphasis and our partnership, mainly with them and with the foundation, is to get funding, provide the programs that we got started last year, and we hope to expand on those. And it just better ensures once again. And the goal of the Campbell County Community Foundation and what we're trying to do is to ensure the students are prepared for the jobs of the future and improve the quality of life in Campbell County. And so we'll be partners in that effort. Answer Mr. Keller's concern about it. It's not in terms of a virtual school like we understood virtual school. What we were going through last year in no way, form, or fashion. There will be computer-based programs that will be in place, and they will be overseen by our placement committee.
I would like to start my comment saying that this kind of took me by surprise when I saw this out in the news, because according to our policy, any new programs that are instituted curriculum-wise has to be approved and brought for approval before the Board of Education. I don't think that's been done. Was you planning on bringing this before the board?
Well, this is what we're behind those funds. And that's what they provided for, what we're going to get. That's all that's done.
Well, according to the report, you correct me if I'm wrong, it said that this new learning academy was to start September 1st.
That's the term you use. Once again, let me repeat, what we're doing with them is this very thing that I shared with you tonight. We are partnering with them on the funding for these programs that we have to play. We are in no position, I don't think, this time to start it. We have East Napoleon Learning Academy, and we have these programs in place. So I'm not for starting a virtual school in terms of the funding.
But I'm still confused, and I was told, let me just read, I'd like to read. Under the leadership, direction, and supervision, supervised instruction, a unified curriculum shall be developed for the school system in each subject area and presented to the board for adoption. Experimentation with newer concepts of curriculum design, scheduling, and instructional techniques is encouraged, but must have prior approval of the principal. An experimental program requires the approval of director of school, board, commissioner of education, and state board of education. Now, when I see Virtual Academy being sold, that we are going to be involved in the Virtual Academy, to me, that's a new program. I know we have Odyssey. I know that we are trying to get more kids on that through the Alternative Learning Center. But I don't want this to be confused, and you clarified that, with any efforts to put a virtual school in, because this board unanimously voted not to have a virtual school. Now, if the board wants to have a virtual school, then we can go back to that. And the way I read this is an outreach to put in some form of virtual learning in our alternative school. Now, we've come a long way on our alternative learning. And if we get a lot of other components in it, we now, according to this article, correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to have adult mentors over at the Learning Academy?
We're hoping to do the very thing we've done over the years, have mentors in all the schools.
But I'm saying, because are we going to have 100 students?
We're certain 400 now.
But are we going to have 100 at the alternative school? That's what they said.
If the numbers come to 100, right now, we're following the same thing we've always followed in the first place. Now, what you have is a document there, and a good photo of it, you know that. What I'm saying is, what we're trying to do is partner with them on funding what we're trying to do to provide these kids this year.
The initial $50,000.
$50,000 is coming from Campbell County Community Foundation.
So, no, as I said to you first, no money for the education budget will go towards this program.
Right now, we're hoping to come up with $30,000 to be able to fund this ingenuity program. And we don't have it.
Well,
They say they're getting ready to write us a check.
okay, that's the foundation. Well, I just hope that we follow board policy and that any curriculum that's changed or added to is brought to the board. I think we have to say so in it, and I think we need to know what's going on in terms of learning. My comments tonight is that I hope we go in that direction. We just don't make decisions like this without full board. That's what we're here. That's what our job is, oversee it, make sure that programs like this are really discussed, go out there and understand what our children will be involved in. So I hope that maybe before September, maybe next month's meeting in August, we'll get more clarification of this and get more on the guidelines of what the program really is. I'd like to know what it is. I don't know what that is. I mean, is it a computer program that helps at-risk kids, or is it?
They've got several different.
So we need to approve that program. So I would hope we do this. That's all I have to say. Anybody else has any comments? I'd like to hear from them at this point.
We're already used to it.
Right. But there's a lot of new things you got to admit out there that we haven't approved.
And some of these things that have been mentioned as far as what they want to do to 25 is from the school related. But we will partner with them because of the fact that all of us want to go forward.
Absolutely.
And that's basically what they're doing with us, is partnering.
Okay, anybody else have anything?
Okay, what is the group number partnering with?
It's Campbell County Community Foundation. It's that foundation
Okay, who
they're
is
helping
that?
us. They're helping us fund. They're linked to the East Tennessee Foundation. They're helping us fund some of the programs that we need to.
Now, I understand, who composes that?
There's a board. I'm not sure who all.
Now, I heard you mention, I heard you that we're partnering with Anderson County.
See, they have an alternative program down there.
I understand.
And so what we want to do is not reinvent the wheel on some of the things as far as like packets of information. The programs that they're doing are successful there with some directed to students. And we'll share with them, they'll share with us like we do any system. You know, and they've done an awful lot.
I really feel like they've done a lot of work on their alternatives. They don't call it that, that's what we call it. And, will our kids be, we'll just be sharing programs and information, or will they have kids here, we have kids there, or any of that?
Their kids will stay there, or stay here. Well, it's just like, if you got anything that works,
Okay.
be willing to share. And so that's like Larry, he's a national in CPE, and he told me this morning that he's sitting with the Anderson County group. He says, we've been sharing some of the things regarding their alternative.
What they're doing down there.
He said a lot of good things that they're doing.
Another thing I understood you say, we got as many as 400 students that we, was in this program last year. Okay, now, Mr. Poston, you go to alternative school for two different reasons. One of them's for disciplinary reasons, and the other one is to catch up if you're behind, to try to help you catch up. Now, what does the GAP program, how does it tie in with, to get those 400 kids, we must have had more programs there than just those two things that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, we had kids, 200 something at Campbell County High, 100 something at, I've got the numbers here somewhere. Had 100 something at Jellicoe. We had 213 at Campbell County High, 180 at Jellicoe High, 2 at Jacksboro Middle, 2 at Foley Middle, 43 there at Ella. And then we have some students that are like homebound and medically homebound, and we have
We're including all these outreach
some of these kids that we can help with their homebound program and what we've got online to help them. See, alternative school, we don't want to be just a community place. We want to be the hub of everything that we can do as far as advancing some of these kids that are at risk. And
Now, all the personnel that work for these, they're not assigned to the alternative school. We got 400 kids. We only have about 4 or 5 people assigned to the alternative school. Are these people that work at the high school that's in the GAP program included in what we're talking about here?
yes. Then also with, we're going to be doing an extended contract with, we did last year with, everything. John. And she'll work up to 2 hours in the evening to check on these kids and their progress. And then every 2 weeks, we check the parents and principals, or the parents and the John and the teachers to get together and see if they're making progress in their program. And this, I guess it's a more focused attention on at-risk kids, making sure that they're meeting their needs.
Okay, that kind of threw me off and heard that 400 because I visit the alternative school quite frequently because of what I do for the session judge. When I'm up there, I only see about 25 thirds. And I'm not seeing 400, but you're telling me that they're all out of the GAP program and you've got them and all this, and we're talking about a conglomerate of all this.
Right.
Okay, I won't extend it. I'm just trying to get a clear picture of what we're doing, and when I'm talking to a kid and he says to me, I'm on this or that, a lot of times I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Just recap this, I'd like to see the curriculum that's being offered in this program.
Chairman, I'd just like to say, I hope the superintendent's board continues to lead the way in these innovative programs, not necessarily
Absolutely. Agree. Very well. Very well. Okay, let's move on to recognize Karen. Yes.
Okay, the first item are the financials for May the 31st, 2014. The general public school fund, cash for the trustee is $5,893,225. Revenues are at 90.8%, and expenditures are at 88.5%. The school federal projects fund, cash for the trustee, $477,316. Revenues are at 81.7%, expenditures are 81.5%. The central cafeteria fund, cash for the trustee is $599,108. Revenues are at 93%, and expenditures are at 90.6%.
accept the monthly donation?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Any member wish to change the vote? Madam Clerk, please.
Miller, yes. Bird, yes. Collins, yes. Moore, yes. Hill, yes. Lawson, yes. Worth, yes. Parker, yes. Motion carried.
And the only other item is on an addendum to request permission to advertise the bids for the mobile serving line.
Motion forward.
So moved.
Is there a second? Discussion, is this, you're anticipating you're going to probably need more, or you need this while?
Mr. Chairman, Board, with the 1 hour lunch there, I just feel like we could serve more students more quickly. If we put this and I could work with somebody to have it out in the dining area there.
Any other discussion? Not, proceed. Any member wish to change the vote? Clerk, please vote.
Miller, yes. Bird, yes. Collins, yes. Crickmore, yes. Hill, yes. Lawson, yes. Worth, yes. Parker, yes. Motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, we have updates based on. Right, items for action, consider approving classified employees who participate in sick leave bank. I had this put on there because I had a couple that has been, come to their attention that the state law in the past allows local boards to allow classified employees to participate in sick leave. Now, of course, we don't have a policy for them, and we would have to adopt a policy. But I wanted to put it on there and get the feel of the board, what you all thought about whether or not we should offer that to them now that it's available, or if we need to have a workshop on it, or if we might have to know.
Is this the sick leave bank we talked about the other night?
This is for classified. It's not.
It's not the same thing.
It's not the same one, but it works the same way. But we have a sick leave bank certified.
So this is a separate.
Yeah, let me read the policy right here. We got it. It's the purpose of the sick leave bank is to provide sick leave to members of the organization who have suffered an unplanned personal illness, injury, disability, or quarantine, and whose personal sick leave is exhausted. The sick leave bank shall be administered by the union. The board, according to the following provisions, which may be amended by the union with the approval of ordinance. So basically, it's like if you participate, I think you give, is it 2, Sharon, or your days a year? What is it you do?
For the first 3
For
years.
the first 3 years.
Are you talking about the addendum?
No, we're on 8A.
Okay.
And so basically, the same thing that the teachers get, it would be offering the classified maintenance
A separate program.
in a separate program. Now, there is an issue of how to be administered. How is the teachers' sick bank administered now?
We don't have not even people that participate in sick leave bank. Just they have basic guidelines that follow. There's sick leave bank request from the need. And then, that's to be all the
How many classified do we have employees? Y'all do the program down there?
I could calculate something, they passed that law, the intent was if it's a bidder, you're certified to pay. So if you decide you want to offer this, what was happening, a lot of bidder systems, they're classified people wanting to do the same thing. So the suggestion at the state level is to mirror the same policy, whatever policy you have set up for your classified, for your certified, you need to do the exact same policy. That's kind of what the statute intended.
I know they don't have anything. Let's send it to a workshop.
We need to have, I think, dude, we need to have a policy written in.
No, it will be the same. as
Same.
what
You
we
would have
have
your
now.
policy that you would have for your teacher.
It would basically,
Exact same policy.
it would just be adding them. We would.
It has to actually be a separate policy, oddly enough, but it's going to be worded the same way.
Would it have to go through 2 readings? Could we, kind of speed it up to meet the new school year?
You can always wait, you can do the second reading at the same month, the same
Well,
month.
we don't, they're not going to have time.
We can do 2/3, can't we? After one meeting.
Let's have a workshop.
You really just need to decide if you want.
Okay, let's do this. Let's have a workshop at 5 before next month's meeting.
Yeah, let's do it.
And then we'll talk about it. At that time, you can talk. And then we can do 2/3.
I think it's fair.
Is that okay with everybody over here?
Yes, sir.
Item B, consider approving memorandum of understanding between the Campbell County Board of Education and the education professionals of Campbell County. Okay, everybody is aware of the memorandum of understanding that Mr. Lawson, Mr. Woodford, Mr. Wilson have been working on for quite some time now. We had a workshop on it a few weeks back. Anybody have anything they want to add to the discussion of that? I will say that Mr. Marlowe is concerned about one area, and that is the sick leave. And I'll just read you an email I got from him. Crediting employees with sick leave days in advance of earning the days. Earn 1 day per month contract is right for review, such as Campbell County Board of Education certified employees can perform with a different school system or summer break, not perform. That they have switched jobs until after the school year begins and receive payment for 10 sick days, even though the employee never can return to work. And it's just one concern that he had that he wanted to share with us. In that area where when you hire a new employee, they receive the
The only concern that I have, I reviewed this when I got my packet. Whenever you pass a memorandum of understanding, you want to make sure it's consistent with the policies that you already have in place. And my suggestion would be that someone go back through this and then tag it to a particular policy section in the ESBA policy manual. And in that way, you can look at the policy section you already have in place to make sure that it's consistent with this memorandum of understanding. You don't want to create a situation where you can read something with the teachers in this memo that is inconsistent with your already existing policy. But when you just look at it, I don't have a policy manual, or I would have tried to do it. Really, most of them seem like good ideas, but when you get to the language, if it's inconsistent with the policy, well, what would the trump it? Is your board policy, is it now trumped by this? I mean, that's inviting litigation. So before I enacted it, I would maybe have one of the central office staff just go through and say, this references policy code 86104.
And that hasn't been done, right?
And then if that way, if there's an inconsistency in the language, you can decide, well, do we want to change our policy language or do we want to change the memo, just so that they're the exact same thing. That would be my only suggestion.
that. Okay, so, Ms. Fox, you have your own, right?
We've not done that, you know.
Try to keep everything, we have regulations, we work through the process, but no, we have absolutely been through and, minutely.
Well, the reason I would say you want to take it to the number is what's going to happen is each year your policies are going to change. And so let's say everything's great right now, and then we amend policy 3.02.
You need to go change it.
And you've forgotten to go back and amend this memorandum of understanding. If you just have each section of that, then you can always look at it each year.
How long will it take you to do that?
We can have it. Well,
By next month.
I mean,
I mean,
You gotta take advice from an attorney.
Everybody back together,
Well,
Sharon.
paying for
What's the point of having an MOU if all you're gonna do is put that work policy?
The MOU is meant to, in a way, substitute for a contract. And the MOU would be the ruling document over board policy if there's a conflict. But
Is that right?
again, we're within state law and all this, where it might be a little bit different from what the policies are, but some of your policies, from the last time, some of them were updated as well. And some of them are general, like announcing the meetings on the board website, posting, having an up-to-date location on the board website for the board policies even, so that people can go to the board website and see those policies. But right now, it's almost impossible to find a copy of board policies anywhere. I mean, that's just part of the MOU. Some of them do
Is all
involve sick
policies
leave and
online?
other things too, but yeah.
I think that I agree with what you said. That's the whole reason we want this to be consistent, because most systems, and you ought to do better at it than we do at times, these policies don't get amended enough, or they get amended and we don't take it into account with everything else. As soon as you pass this memorandum of understanding, a teacher's going to look at that as a contractual document. And if it is in variance with the policy, let's say next year's board comes in, all the board's going to ever do is look at policy. If that policy is how you to the public, the representative, you're going to handle a certain situation. If you as a board enter into this contract with the teachers and it's inconsistent with the policy, then I, as a teacher, go, well, wait a minute, I want the policy to be followed, while another one would say, I want this. They need to jive. And if you need to change one or the other, this is the time to do it. And then once you get it together, just be a good steward. And every time you amend the policy, go, wait a minute, we've got this contract with the teachers. We can't make this policy amendment unless we change the arrangement.
You can't change the memorandum of understanding unless you go there and amend how the collaborative conference.
And that's why you don't want to sign this unless it's consistent with the policy.
Okay, so if we could do the policy review, then,
Okay, I think we're okay with that, Sharon. That's what y'all said. They're saying it's okay.
okay,
We'll sit down and do
if there
that.
is a conflict, we can have a meeting back together.
Okay, they're saying it's okay that one of their representatives and myself sit down and do that, so we're good.
I want to follow up on something that Lawson said. Jack, is our policies online?
No, we have some of them online, but the updates and stuff, y'all want to get that policy from TSBA, and we were waiting for that to be.
We have that, don't we?
So you're going to have it online, that's what we did not continue on, because you would do that online.
Maybe we can get it online before next school year, because TSBA's done that.
It would help me, I could get a current policy manual that is as it says now. I had one when I came on 10 years ago, but you all changed so much. I would like to have one that is what we have now that I can reference when questions come up.
Okay. Madam Clerk, we approved 1 through 3, is that not right? Sections 1 through 3 last October. And then we revised 4 through 6, but
There are some policies that we
yes, and you all been working on that, and you were going to have it ready for this meeting, but maybe we just have it for the next meeting.
We'll let,
I can get at least get the ones up there.
I think, 2 or 3 more. And then 2, there were several changes in the state this early spring. We had to go back and redo all that.
So why don't we do that, and then have those policies due ready for adoption? And if we have to discuss it at that workshop, we can. If not, we'll have it ready for approval.
And while you're going, we're also in the process of doing all the upgrades on the website, including that and all the new forms. Met almost every day for the last month, just doing little lots of ends, getting that ready. And Jackson, some of the website, the document, I don't know, I know several forms. We've got several things on file. And we'll be meeting in the morning We're early in the morning, working on some strategic plan for some of the policy issues.
Board okay with that? Let's move on. Consider revising the 2014-2015 school year calendar to reflect the abolishment of smart kids.
The state basically has done it with park testing next year.
So moved.
Third second. Any discussion? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please do the vote.
Miller, yes. Bird, yes. Collins, yes. Freeman, yes. Hill, yes. Lawson, yes. Worth, yes. Parker, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you. Consider granting tenure to the following teachers who have been listed there. What's the pleasure of the board?
These have all been recommended by the principal of the school. I'm sure their evaluation and everything got a part of
Yeah,
it.
they had to meet all these new expectations stated in 52. The numbers, more or less, wanted to know.
When the Brent team fixed it, it was like to see, but tenure means so much different now that we got into this evaluation system. Is that not right? You could be on tenure and still be released if you keep getting those ones and so on your evaluation. Is that right?
Yeah, we're correct.
And of course, there are some new considerations being looked at the State Department.
I keep reading that, I read where one got a one for about 3 or 4 times. They considered her one of the better teachers they had. I don't know what the state's doing. We get to voting on this. It's not as simple as just because it's like studying English, you know, and they'll say, this is the rule, but you have so many exceptions. So we've got a lot of exceptions to the tenure law. But we're voting on this as a result of the recommendation of the principal of the school. Okay.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. Any further discussion? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, please do the vote.
Miller, yes. Bird, yes. Collins, yes. Freeman, yes. Hill, yes. Lawson, yes. Worth, yes. Parker, yes. Motion passes.
Thank you. Consider approving the consolidated application for IDA ESTA 2014-2015 school year. I think this is the Title I special ed budgets.
Title 1, 2, and 6.
Briefly, look forward to school repair. Could you stand and just tell us anything that you know about it as far as Mike Cruz tell us the production we received this year and explain that to
Of course, as the years go on, we get less. So we got about $60,000 less about in Title I, and in Title VI, we were short like $6,000. Sometimes they'll come back to me with more allocation, like 2 months later down the road, but right now we're short that much. As we receive our allocation each year, the schools are ranked by their poverty level, going from the highest down to the lowest. So that money is spiraled down according to the poverty needs of the school. All schools in Campbell County are Title I. Once that we come up with a figure of how much the schools want to get, there is a team that votes on what's going to be spent in that school. That is for your assistants, any interventionists, any personnel that they wish to have in their schools in order to run their program. Any instructional supplies and materials. Those instructional supplies and materials have to go along with the Common Core subjects, reading, math, and science. And they have a school improvement team who meets. They look at their scores, where they need to make their gains, and then they correlate what they need to purchase according to what they need in the school.
Question.
And the state has approved, this has to go in online, the state has approved this budget.
Campbell, do you have anything to do?
Okay, on the special ed, we actually got an increase of $42,000 this year in tax. But that was done very quickly by the increase in insurance. And it's very simple to read, it's line item by line item, it's how many teachers you have, how many assistants you have, it's equipment, supplies, materials, and it all goes to the district.
Questions, Ms. Campbell? If not, let's vote.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? If not, let's proceed to vote. Any voice to change the vote? Madam Clerk, will you please vote?
Miller, yes. Burge, yes. Collins, yes. Whitmore, yes. Hill, yes. Lawson, yes. Worth, yes. Parker, yes.
The addendum item, consider increasing classified employees who receive payment of accumulated sick leave at the rate of $75 per day upon retirement and accumulated sick leave for retirement. Mr. Wilson had this put on, he couldn't make it, job for the last year, but basically, I think, what are we doing at the current time? Are we paying $50? 25, excuse me.
You are paying $50 and they're not allowed you the choice of retirement. They have to choose either one or the other.
So if we pass this, it's vote, right?
Yes.
Now, my question is, do we have individuals that take $75 more? I mean, in this classified, well, let me rephrase that. Do we have some that don't?
I'm sure you do.
So if we pass this at 75, then they will make more on their sick day than they would if they can't work.
I would think though, if they would have to be full-time, so most of the people work 8 hours a day and the still starts at 8:15.
Is this for part-time, full-time?
You know, for those people who are full-time and eligible to retire. Well, if they're eligible to retire, they whatever they have left, if you're full-time employees are only one. It's my understanding that approves. I'm not sure about the policy on the part-time, I'm sorry.
Do part-time employees,
They earn
do
sick
they
days.
accumulate sick leave?
Yes, they do.
Well, the way this is written, everybody that works then gets $75.
Do the part,
Now, if you work 15 hours a week, you retire and you accumulate sick days, well, you're gonna get the same amount as somebody that works 40 hours a week.
Or we'll keep it now, Rick.
for
Even
part-time.
for part-time, or
Yeah, that's my question.
Karen, for part-time too?
I do not think that the courts come in. Food service may do that, I'm not for sure.
I don't know about this that's being presented, but I can tell you, food service employees, part-time personnel are 1 sick day a semester. They can accumulate as many, they can.
Mr. Chairman, can we table this to Mr. Marley? I'd like, I'd put that in form of a motion, we table it. Make sure we get the jet on it.
A motion to table this issue.
I'll second it, because I think Danny needs to be here.
Okay. Motion seconded. Is there any further discussion? Any members change the vote? Clerk, please vote.
Miller, yes. Burge, yes. Collins, yes. Whitmore, yes. Hill, yes. Lawson, yes. Miller, yes. Parker, yes.
No items for discussion. Discuss legal matters.
One is good news. If you recall, the executive session we had last month concerning the issue that was raised with the similar in the county. I have that resolved. I've had multiple communications with that was something, and they are happy with the information we're
Dale, the gentleman that stopped payment on that check, has that problem been rectified?
I have gotten information from Jeff that I've never gotten the call to move forward with that. I see the emails that go.
I'll make a motion to move forward tomorrow.
Second.
Well, what I would make your motion would be to authorize Jeff to get you the information.
All right, I'll do that.
Go ahead and approve, letting we try to get it back before we file the lawsuit. And then if you won't willingly get it back, then authorize you to file the lawsuit. But I'll need a lot of information, Jeff.
We'll get it. We will, thank you.
He has received notification from us.
That's fine. Well, if you want to do that action, you're going to have to, I can't file a lawsuit unless.
Well, I think
Well, you can send the letter and we'll see, kind of see how it shakes out.
You'll have Jeff.
She's gone.
Yeah, you can have Jeff call me and get me that. If you'll just email me the stuff, I know what to do.
Yeah, that's just not right.
Because he's ready to go.
Good.
All right, recognize school board member.
You know that you, have to read the language from that people.
I have one.
I'll do it. Angelo over there, I'm trying to figure out how, that's what we're gonna do.
How many test scores y'all sure be hollering about? We got, in other words, we did get the results in time to use, but we surely have the results by now, don't we? Still don't have them?
We were in a meeting today with directors and had a conference call in O'Hara, who's over the test. And I was telling several of them that came back. The more I've been going, it's all negative. And there were so many questions concerning, there's like 17 different components to these tests. And they keep telling us to drill down into these different components and do the interpretation. We drilled and drilled and drilled, but there's no more holes to drill. But one of the things that was shared today across the state, they have the largest number of level 1 teachers who were level 5 last year, and yet their students show progress. And they're having a hard time justifying that. So they're saying within the next 2 weeks, we should be getting a response from the commissioner's office. Everything's embargoed.
Well, they're saying they can't even get them interpreted. Why take a test if you can't interpret them?
And there were, of course, I won't get into all the terms that are used with educators, but some of the tests that were given, especially third graders across the state, a lot of the things that were listed in the Common Core, we're not listed, what's it called?
SPIs.
SPIs. They're saying, they told us to drop so many of these SPIs. They weren't
What
dropped.
is that?
That's some of the state standards that were being taught, and rather than some of the Common Core standards.
That's another set of standards rather than Common Core standards.
And all the teachers, we encourage them not to do that. Well, in one school, this particular teacher, she said, I'm teaching both. Hers were the only ones that did well. She taught both of them, so they're using that as an example of some bad information. So there's a lot of things that are still being discussed. And we're supposed to get some definitive, everything's still embargoed. We're supposed to get some definitive language from the Commissioner's office within the next 2 weeks.
Say congratulations again to the young men that came up here today and told us about their achievements. That's wonderful. I did have a couple of calls today and would ask that Poston or whoever check into the lighting at the baseball field. Evidently had a situation last night. So I would ask that that be looked into and resolved this week.
I got email to where I came over and I thought people emails like that.
Thank you.
Donnie, this new learning program that you talked about earlier, I hope that these employees get additional duties added to what they're doing now, that they get compensated for.
That's one we talked about.
Stop or something. And I want to congratulate those young guys back there too. Good job.
Well, I echo that again. Congratulations again. Proud of you. I'd like to just, there was a question that came up in the forum, and I just I thought it was a good question. I think Boone wrote it. I think it was the idea of stacking the classes. Kids, achievers, non-achievers, how to level that out. Teachers. I hope that I get a decent enough response, but tonight I would hope that the administration does work with the principals to see that this practice is being done where these teachers do have the opportunity to have those achievers and non-achievers equal in classes. Because that would be an unfair advantage, I'm sure, that they would not be fair at all if there was favoritism going on. Not to say there is, but I couldn't answer for any schools, so hopefully,
It's something else to discuss.
I've been on the board 14 years. I remember correctly, I called it 14.
Well, I would hope this administration would keep together and work to
It's not fair.
It is, it's not fair, with as much pressure that people have to be evaluated. I think there needs to be some discipline from or authority from the central office on down the line that spreads it out fairly. So,
I feel like there's a pretty good handle on it, but at the same time, it's something we have to discuss every single year and encourage from our standpoint to do the practice to be. But we'll certainly invest in that.
We passed these guidelines with the high school vote, and we get to talking about this. We have AP classes. We have all those, the weighted classes, the ones that's most important. So now, you're not going to go down and get the kids that make straight F's and put them in an AP class in English or history. So I mean, there's a lot of things in elementary school that make it different, but still, you have to start, as you said, you better do a lot of discussing because everybody don't want to take calculus and chemistry. But you get into a lot of that. I'll stop.
Back in the board, and after being up there in the community, concerned that
basically, the only thing we're waiting on now is just the state. They have actually approved a site for a pilot program for 3-4-year-old program, which is good. We're just waiting on them. Gigi said she would contact us.
you feel like there's still one time to be ready by home.
And even beyond, and we can get it on No, we can't do anything. You can't go in there and set up a preschool without their approval.
Congratulations to young men, we're proud of you.
Congratulations to the Clover Bowl winners. I saw them over at Charlie's Pizza one night after one of the competitions. They were telling me about their next steps, so I'm proud of them. I'm glad to see them have some success. I would like an explanation of why our 10-month employees don't get 26 checks. Because right now, based on the school year, will they get their 26 checks? But like, based on the current school year, the start date, 4 weeks, pretty much between July 26th paycheck, which would be the last paycheck they get, 4 weeks from that point until they get their next check. That bothers me. I couldn't go 4 weeks without a paycheck. So, I mean, I want an explanation. Why in the world? This has never been a problem until the last 2 years. It seems like it's been a huge problem, and I would like an explanation.
We think we've got it worked better with jail. That's county has one business. But it's kind of set up.
Because people say they were consulted, but the teachers I talked to, they've never been asked about it. Sharon, I mean, if you go to...
It may take a minute, but we do get 26 checks, and if you crunch those numbers, it amounts to 364 days. 26 checks, 14 days apart. Covers 364 days. Well, there's 365 and a fourth days in a year. So every year, there's 1 1/4 days that's, it kind of builds up. So the cycle is about every 8 years, you've built up a whole pay cycle that you either have to start school earlier or you have to be willing to bump it up and start getting paid a little bit later. Now, the last time this came around, Mr. Wells said, we will not start school early just so teachers can get paid. And of course, I said, well, most teachers I know work because they get paid for it. But anyway, you know, when it came around, we did send out to all the schools. I put it on the school email, asking people what they would prefer to do. Because Jeff said the auditors came in and said, you cannot pay people unless they work. Which is why last year we started earlier. This year we would have to start in July, or some magical something would have to happen. And I'm all open for something magical
The
happening.
important thing is people were consulted, though.
Yes, absolutely they were.
Let me ask this question. If a person's making he's making $50,000 a year, regardless if you get that extra check or not, they still make $50,000.
They will get the extra check. It's just like this year. We started getting paid earlier than we probably should have. And the last day of school, we got 4 checks. And then 2 weeks later, we got 1 more. So that was 5 checks. This coming year, we'll start getting paid a little bit later. Last day of school, we'll get 5 checks. And then 1, 2 weeks later. So between school starting and June 30th, everybody gets everything they're owed.
What throws me off, though, is they say you've got to work to get a check, but yet you get 5 checks in the school year, and you get another check 2 weeks after you quit.
But those are monies that were put back for summer checks. We already earned it.
Okay. I just want to make sure people are concerned because they say people live on a budget.
Right.
So,
And that's why we put it out early. That's why we put it out early. They were going to do that last year, and we had to.
They can only have to spend it if they want
Okay, motion to adjourn.
to. So moved.